Well, here we are again, it's another repair request. This is a Hornby Princess Coronation class that was sent to me by a chap called Thornton. He said that this seems to have a bit of a traction issue and it's making some noises. It's also got disconnected wires on the drawbar. Let's see what happens under power. Okay, I've attached this to 6 coaches, so we'll see if it's got any traction issue. So as you could hear there, it's making quite a loud clicking sound going around the curves. It's also making a bit of a scraping sound. I think that's the wiper pickups, possibly on the tender. I don't see any evidence of any traction issue, but there's clearly something up with the mechanism. Something's hitting something. So we'll back this into the shed, get it to the bench, and see what's going on. Okay, then, let's get a look at this. Oh, it's cold in here. So yeah, this is the City of Bristol. Nice locomotive, this. I do like blue steam engines, I really do. Definitely my favourite colour for a steam locomotive. This has got a smoke deflector missing, obviously, at the front there. I've found a replacement on eBay, so I've ordered that up. We've got a broken buffer on the rear of the tender. We'll see what we can do about that. Apart from that, this seems to be in pretty good condition. So the wires are not connected to the drawbar. This is a made in China model, so experience of these things tells me that they are very prone to connection issues because the pickups are a bit rubbish. Let's have a look. Well, they're all making contact with the wheels anyway. So I'm just going to do a quick continuity test on this just to see what the pickups are doing. Yeah, that one's a bit iffy. Yeah, the pickups are not really doing their job. They are touching the wheels, but I think they must be a bit dirty. So we'll clean all that up, clean the inside of the wheels, clean the pickups up, make sure there's a good connection between the pickups and the wires to the motor. Just looking at all the rods here, they're extremely bent. That one is really bent. That's got a bend in it. That's bent. This is in a terrible state. So yeah, it's been getting picked up like that. You know, when you pick a locomotive up, a steam locomotive, pick it up by the body. Don't touch the wheels, because the slightest pressure on these rods, especially when you pick it up a number of times, it will bend the rods. And I don't know how well you could see there, but they're in a mess, and that's why I'll be clicking. This rod here is hitting that crank pin if you push the wheel this way. So we'll straighten all the rods up, we'll clean everything, give it a service, solder the wires back onto the drawbar, fit a new smoke deflector, sort the buffer on the tender, and I think we'll be fine. I don't see any traction issue, but we'll see how it goes. Let's just have a wee look at the tender. Yeah, the tender wheels are a bit stiff, and I think that's definitely what was making the scraping sound I could hear. If I just bend the pickup away, no scraping sound. Yeah. So we'll need to get this apart, clean the pickups, and see if we can free the wheels up a bit and reduce the noise. I mean, that is possibly where some, I mean, I guess that could cause a traction issue. I think first things first, we'll get the body off the locomotive and see what's inside. We'll take this pony truck off first. Goes off like that. There's the spring. There's the two wires. Take this front bogie off as well. I think it's just a single screw at the back. That should now lift out. There we go. So yes, okay, all the usual business. It's DCC ready. It's got a blanking plate. So I think first of all, let's straighten these rods because they are really bad. Bend that one out. Bend that one. That's going to want to come out a bit there. You can see this one here, it comes in and then comes out again. Right, looks a bit better. We'll need to disengage the motor to test that. So let's get that undone. Do the bracket at the back. Come on, why isn't the screw coming out? Okay, if you want to be stuck there, you can be stuck there, I don't care. Just move that to there. And you should be able to lift that up. Just enough to disengage the motor. Make sure nothing's interfering with the wheels. It's not moving too freely, but I think that's the pickups. I'm pretty sure that's the pickups causing that resistance, but we shall see. Let's just pop this back on just now, just to get it out the road. Let's just take this off. It comes off like that. There's the pickups. Yeah, so that's got to make contact with that, and that's got to make contact with that. But it's all a bit hit and miss. It's that one. It's that one. Right, so with the pickups out, let's pop that back on. And now let's see how those wheels turn. Yeah, that's nice as ninepence. So if that's going around the corner like that, that's fine. And if it's going to go around the corner that way, yeah, I think I would like that one bent out just a little bit. Same with that. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I just want to get in here to check the drive gear's okay. Big chunk of dry grease. Just checking the drive gear. Appears to be okay. That's a relief. Because if that had been cracked, that's a new wheel set required. Yeah, that all looks fine. We'll give it a scoosh. And then we'll get to the top of the gearbox here. Lift that gear out. Yeah, we've got some dried up grease and gunk. It's not too bad. I'll give it a good scoosh. Get the manky brush onto it. Just get some of that crap out of there. Right, pop that back in. we'll give the worm gear a clean. Just going to put a tiny wee touch of oil in the bearing at the back of the motor, and a wee touch in there. Okay, I'm just going to pop that plate back on, just to hold the wheels in place, because I want to clean the wheels and I don't want them falling about all over the place. Make sure the motor's not engaged, and then we'll get cotton bud and some contact cleaner, and we shall clean the insides of the wheels as well as the outsides. Okay, to clean these pickups, I'm going to just try and give them a scoosh. See how well they clean up. I do think they're overbent, making too harsh a contact with the wheel. That's why there was so much resistance. We'll see how that goes now. Lift that out again just now. And we get lots of lovely silicone grease down in there. Some of the worm gear as well. We spot of Everest in there. And some gear oil on the worm gear. Just fix the motor in place. Okay, so I've just removed this plate again because I want to refit the pickups. I want to improve contact between the point of the pickup there and the terminal there. I mean, you could solder wires to the pickups and wire that up. That would be an absolute foolproof way to do it, but I don't want to introduce more wires, and it just makes it more difficult if you ever come to take it apart again. So I'm going to add a spot of solder onto the top of the pickup just there. Just put a blob of solder on there, and on the other pickup we'll put a blob of solder on there. And what that will do is when I screw this plate back down, it will just increase the pressure, the force, ensuring that the pickup makes contact with that point there, which is a little nodule on the chassis, and that point there, which is connected to the wire to the motor. Just put a wee spot of flux on there just to help it stick. I just want to put a blob on. Maybe a bit more. Like that. So that just thickens up that little bit of copper there. So it will increase the pressure on it when the plate's on. So I'll do the same to this one. And just before I fit the pickups back in, I'm going to get some fresh oil into the axles. Fit that back down. And then we can refit the pickups. Right. Put that on. Yeah, it's definitely better. Let's just give this a wee shot on the test track. I think I'll give this a wee buzz around the layout just to make sure it doesn't click going around the corners. Okay, quick test. No clicking in the tunnel. Yeah, that's fine. So as I thought, the clicking was just the rods hitting the tops of the crank pins. Right, what am I doing now? Let's get a wee bit manky brush action in here. Just get some fluff and static grass out, and then we'll get some oil into the linkages, and then we'll need to look at these wires. A few wee spots of oil. So I need to determine which wire goes on which part of the drawbar. Just try to think how I can test this easily. So I put this on the track and then put the battery on the track, switch the controller off. So positive terminal on this track, which way does it go? Goes that way. Negative on there, goes that way. Righto, if I get these wires out, I need to find out which one's the negative and which one's the positive. So let's try that one as the negative, and this one as the positive. Which way does it go? Yep, that's right. Got it right first time. So that wire there wants to go to the contact underneath, and this wire here wants to go to the contact on the top. Annoyingly, the old solder on the contact there has been painted over. I'm just scraping away all that paint to expose the solder. I'm just soldering this wire back on, so that one should go on there. There we go. It's I mean, it's a terrible idea having these little wires soldered to the drawbar like that, you know, because this is subject to a lot of movement, so the wires are constantly getting wiggled. They're just going to give eventually. Right, okay, let's test this. So that should work. And then with the tender, still to clean the tender up, but let's just make sure it's not going to short. Bit of a traction issue there, see? And that is because those wheels are so stiff. That's maybe what the traction issue was that Thornton was talking about. So we shall look at the tender. We've got a single screw there. There's a sneaky little screw just on top of this coupling. Pull that out, and then we can get it. I don't normally have problems getting tenders open. Let's undo these screws as well. Right, come on, how does this come out? There we go. Crikey, what was that? Ah, right, so there's that clip there. So once it's in, pull it back, and it opens up. Easy enough when you know how. Right, okay, yeah, we've got some fluffage going on there. So we'll get the manky brush in, get all the fluff out, clean these pickups, clean the wheels. I don't really see what else can really do to it. This was on very tight, especially that screw there. It was on really tight, and I think it was maybe just restricting the movement of that wheel a wee bit. Just popping the wheels in. I'll give them a tiny wee spot of oil. Yeah, these are now spinning. And they weren't before. I think it's just the plate was screwed on too tight. It was just restricting the axle a little bit. Pop this back in. Get it the right way round. Goes. Actually, no. I think what we'll do is fix this buffer. That's what we'll do before we put that back together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this replacement buffer in place, and then I'm going to rebuild all this broken part here with milliput. Okay, so there's my milliput repair on that buffer. We'll let that harden and then we'll sand it down and then paint it up. It should be fine. Okay, so the milliputs had time to harden, so we'll file it down very carefully, very slowly. Okay, I think we'll go with that. We'll paint it up and see what it looks like. So I'm just painting this with some red acrylic. Okay, there we go. Buffer sorted. Now we can get this back together. So that goes on there. We'll get the dusty brush onto the body and I have a replacement smoke deflector. It just goes on like that. Just plugs in like so. And there we go. There's the city of Bristol, all ship-shape in Bristol fashion. Right, let's go and pull it out of the shed. Okay then, out she comes. So there we are, that's this Hornby Princess Coronation class all sorted out. It's a really nice looking locomotive and it's now running really well. So yeah, the main issue with this was that the rods were pretty mangled. Be careful how you pick locomotives up, guys. The pickups were pretty hard up against the wheels as well, needed a good clean. The axles on the tender were being hindered by the keeper plate, it was just screwed on too tight. But all cleaned, serviced, sorted out the tender buffer, fitted a new smoke deflector, and there we go. Yeah, I mean, I think these made in China models are always going to be prone to issues, particularly pickup issues, and those wires connected to the drawbar are always going to fail. Also, I think the rods and valve gear are not the best. So I think if you own one of these, you need to keep an eye on it and be prepared for tinkerage. But this one should be good to go for a bit, so I'll get it packed up and sent back to Thornton. What's next? Okay folks, catch you later.